Moving on. I'm really excited about this next one. Because with Excel, I literally had to stop the presses. People say that, but literally had printed like half of these. And then I got access to these formulas that I got to see previewed at Excelapalooza. And I'm like, I have to show this to you guys. So I'm really excited about the Excel one especially. That's going to be the last thing I show you in Excel though. There's still other exciting things to show you in Excel. So the first two are going to be AI and Excel. So we're seeing it also in Excel. All right, first one. These are data types. You will have this already. This has appeared in your ribbon kind of secretly. In fact, this might be one that was backdated to 2016. I might be wrong about that. It's for sure going to be in your 365. So what this does, it's going to be on the data tab of your ribbon. And this is going to analyze a couple types of data types. So right now there's just two. There's stocks and geography. And I think for most of us on campus, geography is what we'd be using more frequently. It'll take a look at some sort of geographical data. In my case, I have zip codes. And by the way, zip codes we discovered at Excelapalooza, all testing it together. Zip codes are the most reliable way of doing this. All right, so I take this. Again, you need to have a Wi-Fi connection for this to work. And I tell Excel, all right, I've got some geography here. It's going through the connection. It's figured out what these zip codes are. I can tell because there's some little cards that appear to the left of them. The cards alone, you'll have to tell me if these excite you. I'm not that into them. I don't know. It might be kind of cool to be able to click on a card and see where something's from. I don't know. That's not the exciting part to me. The exciting part is that I can extract any of that data from that card. So this little tiny square is going to let me extract that data from this cell into subsequent cells. So let's check it out. My end goal was to extract city, state, and county. I can extract city pretty easily. State.
Nice.
Yeah, all my problems are solved. It's pretty amazing, right? There's also a lot of cool things that you can do with the stocks. Are any of you guys stock people? Yeah, me neither. I don't know much about them. But I'll show you what it does. Is that there's a lot of fields for stocks. So if any of you know anyone who's into stocks, I literally just had to look up what are some stock names, because I honestly, it's one of those things I want to learn about. Same story here. You get the little card, but look at all the stuff you can extract. I don't even know what some of this means. There's even a scroll wheel. There's even more stuff. I picked a few for us to look at just so that we didn't look at all of them. But if I want to see the highs and the lows, number of employees that they have, maybe. There's even a way to see their headquarters. So pretty cool. If you do ever use the stocks or know anybody who does, Microsoft immediately gives you this huge warning at the top saying, please don't sue us if you make an investment with any of these. I can see why they would do that, right? So this is live. Every time you open your Excel, it's going to be communicating with Microsoft servers. So if you didn't have Wi-Fi and you're like, wow, Apple's doing great today, and I can see why they do that, right? So use at your own risk. I'm just passing along the warning, even though none of you said you were into stocks. I do want to show you something when you use these, though. It's kind of interesting. So we talk about flash fill, right, in Essentials, and how it creates this magical column of information, and it's just the text. This is not like that. This is different. This is actually, if you look in your formula bar, it's actually inserted a formula into that cell. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just telling you that in case you're copying and pasting. When you're copying and pasting formulas, right, things happen. We talk about in macros, again, shameless plug, creating a macro to fix that, but I digress. It's a formula that it inserts into here for data. So that is one piece of AI that is pretty cool. Every time I open this Excel file now, it's going to communicate. If for some reason a city name changed, it would change in here as well. Okay, next thing to show you AI related, and this will look familiar. If you took pivot tables training, right, we were a concert promoter. We have this amazing concert list. This is kind of a checkbook style entry, right, of all these cool expenses for these cool concerts that we have. And we talk about in Essentials making a pivot table out of this. Pivot tables scare a lot of people. Just the word pivot table or the word pivot chart scares a lot of people. So I'm hoping this new feature kind of helps address that. This is very similar to the ideas in PowerPoint, and actually, conveniently, it's also called ideas in Excel. So basically, it's going to look at your data and say, here's some interesting facts. Here's some things you can do with this data. So let's say, I don't know how to do pivot tables. I don't know how to do pivot charts. I've just got my data here. What am I going to do with it? I can select ideas, and it's going to bring up a little screen on the right side, just like the PowerPoint ones. So first of all, wow, I've never heard of pivot tables. What is this? Oh, creates a pivot table for me, just like we do in class. I can still edit this, right? I can still say, well, this isn't what I wanted. I actually want a debit. You can still do anything you want to it. It's just gotten you started. The other exciting thing about this is that it notices trends. Great Hall has noticeably higher debit. Oh, I didn't know that. Honorariums accounts for the majority of debit. Hadn't thought about that. So sometimes with data, when we're doing charts, it's what story am I trying to tell that I'm always asking myself. So maybe this might help you figure out, what is my story? I've got all this data. What do I want to tell everyone with it? And P.S., maybe I didn't know what a pivot chart was, and now I've created one with just one click. So keep an eye out for ideas. Really good way, I think, to introduce people to some of these scarier features that are a little bit intimidating. Okay. I think that's all I was going to tell you about ideas. Now, this was the stopper of the press. Formulas. We're getting some new formulas. If you have 365, I don't think you're going to have these yet, because I just got them in December. I was supposed to get them in November. I checked every week. I logged into my Excel, seeing if I had them. I didn't have them. More on this later, because if you're fascinated by these, I have a way that you might be able to play with them before you officially get them. Okay, so this looks familiar if you've taken advanced formulas, right? This is a list, fictional list of scholarships, account number, balance, how much we've assigned, and what my available balance is, right? And so in the advanced formula session, we made a VLOOKUP, right? We wanted to look up the available balance of whatever account I throw into this orange cell. You guys remember that? The old VLOOKUP. There's a lot that's not very intuitive about VLOOKUP, and I won't cover the whole about how to do a VLOOKUP. A couple of things are intuitive. Well, one thing is intuitive. What am I looking up? The lookup value. That's the one that's intuitive for everybody. All right, I'm looking up whatever's in this cell. Table array, what is that? Well, it's going to be this stuff over here, okay. Next thing that throws people off is, what is my column index number? What does that mean? I've got to read this text underneath. It's telling me to count my columns. Okay, I'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then the last super not intuitive thing, you guys remember this, true and false range lookup value. And we talk about how false is the default, or true is the default, and you usually want it to be false. True is going to allow for an approximate match. False is an exact match. And we see the folly of allowing for an approximate match. A lot of mistakes can happen. So let's say I'm hip to that and I get it and I know I have to do false. And okay, I've done my VLOOKUP. That's how we did it in class. So guess what? You may not care about VLOOKUP ever again after you see this next formula I'm going to show you. This is scandalous. Nobody faint. Hold on to your chair. It's called XLOOKUP. It's being referred to as the VLOOKUP Slayer. Yeah, you guys are you're gonna faint. Okay, let's look at it. I'm gonna do the same formula with an XLOOKUP. Oops, too excited. Okay. It's going to look complicated here, but it's really not. It's asking me, what do you want to look up? I want to look up this. Where is it? Here it is. Where's my results? Here they are. That's all. But there's more. There's way more. Okay, so we talked about how this is Hannah's spreadsheet. She sends it to her boss, and her boss says, "Oh, I want to see what's in the Martin's account." And he spells it totally wrong, and he gets, "Well, Hannah's spreadsheet is really messed up here." And she's like, "You typed it in wrong, dude." So there's a way to address that in the formula. So I'm going to show this to you. I'm going to zoom in. There was a couple more fields that are optional. One is if not found. Do you want it to spit something out if someone types in Martin's wrong? Sure. I'll have it say, check your spelling, dude. Like that. So then if he does the same thing, it's going to say check spelling. You might have a more formal relationship with your boss. But everything else is going to work. It's going to be like, oh, I messed that up. All right, what's the Anderson, etc. So that's really cool. A lot of stuff you can do with XLOOKUP. There's even more. Okay, let me show you. That was the beginning. With VLOOKUP, it's a little limiting, right? You got to look up left and return results right. XLOOKUP doesn't care. So normally with VLOOKUP, if I wanted to look up the account number and spit up scholarship, I got to make a helper column somewhere or a hidden sheet somewhere where things are looking things up. XLOOKUP doesn't care. All right, I want to look up to the left. I'm going to do something scandalous. I'm going to look this up in this column and spit it out from that column. Why not? Left, right, doesn't care. So if you are a match index user, because of this, a lot of people will do a nested formula with match and index because they're like, I gotta look up to the left. They kill your match index. Match index users. Match index users? One. It's gonna kill your match index. Okay. One more thing, well, two more things to show you about XLOOKUP. I can't stop talking about it. This is actually the beginning of the dynamic array formulas, and there's going to be several of these. It is a dynamic array formula. More on this with the other two ones I'm going to show you. But this means that I sure would like to have it return not just the available balance, but also the account number, the beginning balance. I want to spit out a ton of stuff when I look stuff up. So I'm going to create a dynamic array with XLOOKUP. I'm going to look this up, and I'm going to look it up here. And instead of, before I clicked on just one column, but instead this time I want it to look up all of these. So now I can look up all 3 bits of information. This might be a whole column or a whole sheet of stuff that you're looking up this way, by the way, right? There's one more thing to show you about XLOOKUP. You guys are like, what, did I come to an XLOOKUP session? Or this is the last thing to show you. There's more to talk about with it, but I'm trying to truncate. Before, if you had a horizontally oriented list, this is the same sheet, only oriented horizontally. I don't know why. Sometimes people would do this, or it gets exported this way, or someone sends it to you this way. So the same information horizontally. So you used to have to use, right, VLOOKUP's ugly cousin HLOOKUP, but almost no one likes to use. HLOOKUP is being slayed as well with XLOOKUP. It doesn't care that it's a row. So I'm going to look up Martin in now a row. Why not? Spit out another row. So, doesn't matter. Left, right, horizontal, vertical. I just wonder when they're going to make these other formulas disappear because of all of these amazing XLOOKUP capabilities. So, hope it excites you guys as much as it did me. When do you get it? I wish I knew. It's a bit mysterious when the updates happen. I didn't know when I was going to get it. I was hoping to get it in November. I was promised November, it came mid-December. But don't let me forget to tell you what I want to tell you at the end about giving you guys the ability to play with some of these. This next one also saw it at Excel-Palooza, also is a dynamic array formula. It's called Unique. This one is actually surprisingly simple, but there were at least 3 or 4 instances since September when I wished I had this. So another dynamic array. We've got a list of students, which again we talk about in formulas. This is the scholarship awards. So we've got some people listed, sorry, my mouse is doing a strange thing. We have some people listed 4 times. This lady's getting 4 different awards, Maria Campbell. We've got one person listed once. I just want a list of unique names. This is a really common request people have. I don't want to see repeats. I just want to see who are the unique people on this list. So this is a new formula called Unique, which we'll also be getting soon. It's a pretty simple formula. So first it's saying it wants to know the array. So what do we want to return? How about first name, last name? This is again a true-false question. Do you want to compare rows or do you want to compare columns? It tells you with the helper text. I think the helper text has gotten better. I know we complain about it sometimes. In my case, I want unique rows, so I'm going to select false. There's a couple more parameters you could add in there. I don't want to get us too bogged down. But here's a list of unique values now from that list. And maybe I'm putting this on another sheet, right? You don't always put it on the same sheet. but now I can just see a unique list of names. This is a dynamic array formula, so it's going to be changing dynamically. If Timothy is not really Tim and he's Tim instead of Timothy, that's going to change in both the dynamic array, constantly updating. One thing to note with these dynamic arrays, this is kind of interesting. I built this in G2, and the formula bar kind of looks like what you would expect. I mean, I built a formula, even if it's not a familiar looking formula to you. Where it has spilled into, it's kind of grayed out, right? So this is not really where the formula lives. It's an array that's spilling into other cells. So because of this, we have actually a new error. I know you were hoping for one. It's trying to spill into some cells. So if I have stuff in the cell somewhere where it's trying to spill into, you're going to see this right off the bat when you're trying to build the formula. Spill means get some stuff out of the way, basically. As soon as you move it out of the way, you'll be good to go. So just something to think about. The same story with that X lookup that we made that was kind of spanning into some other cells. If I would have had a bunch of stuff in the way, I'd have a spill error. Or if my list gets too long and then suddenly stuff is in the way, spill error.
So can you have it add up how much Maria is getting as well?
We could do some if.
Okay.
Why not? Sky's the limit. Last dynamic array to show you is the sort by. We all know how to sort. We all know how to go up here and make a little sort and filter button. But sometimes you just want to have the list on another sheet somewhere sorted by whatever parameters you decide. So I'm going to have this list of students and their grades. I sure would like to sort them by the highest grade, right? So that would be really handy. I'm going to check out this other dynamic array, sort by. So really, this one has a couple things here. Where are you looking? You know, what are you trying to return? So in my case, it'll be names. And then what are you sorting by? So I'm going to do my array here, just to be the names. I'm going to sort by the grades. There's actually one more thing, I'm sorry. Sort order. It's going to default to sorting lowest to highest, which in my case is not really what I want. I wanted to see my top earners. So it's going to tell you here to put a 1 or a -1, depending on what you're looking for. In my case, it's going to be -1. Here's my list of students sorted by their grades, and it's a list in a separate location. I could incorporate formulas into this. Maybe this is on another sheet separate, and this is a hidden sheet that it's referencing. You know, you can really kind of think outside the box with that. This one is live again, so Sarah Cooper's my top grade. If suddenly she's not doing as well this semester, it's going to resort my list live, right? Because it's a formula. Pretty cool stuff. Okay. I wish I could tell you everything, but there's so many other things. But it's possible we'll have more of these sessions, right? Every 6 months, and we can get updates on all the other new formulas. A couple more things to tell you.